Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm currently in Port Townsend at this beautiful ocean view Airbnb. It is so gorgeous. And I'm just spending time with family and hanging out because family is important right now, you know, especially after, you know, kind of what we've been experiencing and going through. I think it really makes you look at life differently. It turns your perspective around and makes you realize what's truly important in this life. It's so gorgeous. It is so beautiful. I love the ocean. I literally never want to leave. But you know, I think it's hard in this world right now to not be affected in some way. And so that's why these past couple days I've been detoxing and staying off social media for a few days. It's so important to take that time for yourself and I call it like a detox, like a social detox. Even if that's a few days of not being on social media, or you don't need to talk to people, or you need to go out and literally like go to a lake, go to an ocean, go out and walk, go out camping, go out in nature, go sit on your balcony, even if it's for an hour, like go write to have fun, or to create something, or to paint something, or to play games, or do something that fills your heart, regardless of the expectation or the outcome. Because that's something I've really realized is like, I feel like, you know, more and more as time goes on, I've really grown into myself. And I always had the question of, is it finding yourself or is it coming back to yourself? You know what I mean? And for me, it was like, there was parts of me that were no longer serving me, parts of me that were there to help me survive, were there to help me cope. But when you no longer need those coping mechanisms and survival skills, then you're kind of like, I can be happy, like I can feel peace, I can feel safe. And then once you're in that sort of space and you're experiencing that, I feel like it really allows you to grow into who you always were. And it's so weird because I'm coming back to parts of myself that for some reason I pushed to the side, or I like outcasted for some reason. Like, I was so creative growing up. I danced my whole life. I would make up all these fun, beautiful writing stories and poems, and I would journal just for fun. Even when I was 5 years old, I would sit there and write for hours and think of all these fun things, and I would just go out and play. And you know, it's so wild when you grow up and you become older, you become an adult, and you get so accustomed and attuned to this adult society world, and you forget the parts of yourself that were always there. And I feel like really feed your soul. And wow, it makes me want to cry right now. I'm getting emotional because some of my favorite days are when I'm creating, or I'm painting, or I'm making videos, or I am just out in nature, and that's all it is for me. It brings me so much joy and so much happiness. And you know, I think my sole purpose is a little more creative than my younger self even 2 years ago thought it was. And you know, I've had so much change upon change upon change in the past couple of years of my life, and even recently. And you know, I'm learning like we never have it figured out, no matter how much we say we want to, or no matter how much we try to prepare for things. There are things that happen in life that you can never prepare for. And so when you become secure in yourself and you start to learn to trust yourself, then no matter what life throws at you, no matter what things come your way, you're going to be able to trust that you can handle it, and that when that road comes, you'll be able to be on that road. Or I think the saying is, you know, when that bridge comes, you'll be able to cross the bridge. You know what I mean? And you know, with me, I have a tendency to overthink because it was a coping mechanism that I had to use to help myself get out of scary and difficult situations. And we tend to do that to try to come up with these solutions in our mind, or it's a weird way of comfort, or trying to think of what we would do in this situation, that's in this thing, but really all that is just harming ourselves. And I've really come to terms and learned with that, because there are things that are gonna happen, and when it happens, you'll know what to do. And if it's not happening in that moment, then it's not meant for you to, experience. I've been taking acting classes for a while now, and I absolutely love them. They fill my whole heart and my whole soul, and I've met the coolest people. And it allows you to be creative without judgment, without fear, without overthinking. And I feel like acting, or any sort of art form like theater and singing and performing, you have to have so much empathy whether you're playing a character or you're portraying a story that can help inspire other people, help other people learn lessons from, you watch a movie or you watch a show and it impacts you so much. I just love it, because I've done only a few things with it, but it's so cool to become someone else for that time and really understand and realize, what would this person be thinking and feeling, and what made them come to this point, and how can I best portray this story that can help, share a story or a voice or a thing, that can help somebody else or somebody else can relate to. And it's just making me be so much more creative and grow into myself and be more confident, because sometimes we can walk around and be so self-conscious or overthink and be like, is this person looking at me? Like, what are they thinking? But, we pass so many strangers and people all the time that you might think about it for 1 second, and then after that, it's gone, Like, everyone has their own little worlds and realities of things that they're thinking about. So what other people think about you or say about you really honestly doesn't matter. And I've learned that too, because I have a lot of walls built up, and I'm learning to be more vulnerable, and it's a really hard thing for me, because yes, it can be scary, but at the same time, I went through so much that I closed off so much, and I think I closed off, a part of my heart and a part of being vulnerable. But now I'm learning to open up again and be vulnerable and realize the right people are never gonna make me feel little for that, or judge me or belittle me for being vulnerable and for having emotions and for being my true, authentic, weird self. But really, what is weird anyway? Who defines weird? Who defines normal? We live on a floating rock, an ever-expanding universe. And you can't tell me that's weird, And I think what makes us all unique is being who we are, because there's not a single person on this planet who will ever be like you or who is you. And that should be a superpower, I think it's incredible when somebody's so unique and different from me, because I can learn from them or learn those aspects of them that I may need to hear or to see to help me grow. And I really admire that about people. Like, meeting so many cool, unique, different people helps me be like, wow, like, I love that you show up in this world in that way, and I love your style and how you express yourself, and I think that is so beautiful and so incredible. And we can learn from people and take things away from people, or be like, oh wow, maybe I could work on that, or I could be more confident in myself and not care what people think, and wear what I want to wear and dress what I want to dress and look how I want to look, because ultimately at the end of the day, it's your body, and nobody else will ever experience what it's like to live in your body and to be who you are, and your mind, body, and soul. And so it's not for other people to tell you what to do or how to live or to even understand it, because we can only understand it to our level of perception. And that's another thing, is people will only perceive you to the level that they can comprehend, and to the level of their understanding and their consciousness and how they view the world. And that's something that really helped me, because nobody really knows me except for me. Nobody knows yourself better than you. And even your close friends and family, they only know or see sides to you. When you're home alone, or you're all by yourself and you're just sitting there with yourself, that's who you are, right? And I've learned that, like, in my acting classes, something that she said that really stuck with me. She was like, when you're portraying a character, you have your actor brain, and then you have your character brain. When you're living your life as your character, you're not going to be thinking, what do I look like right now? Are people staring at me? Oh my God, I look horrible. You know, and I feel like that's important to take that into our own lives, into our own accounts. Like, you know, people who are really judgmental of others are incredibly critical of themselves. And I think when we flip the perspective and be like, what can I learn from this situation? You know, this is happening for me. Does it feel like things in my life are happening to me? Yes, because things in life can be incredibly difficult. Trust me, I feel that. But at the same time, sometimes I try to take a bigger perspective or outlook of my life and be like, what is happening for me? What lesson should I be learning right now? Obviously, this thing is happening for me to overcome this, or to have a different perspective, or to, you know, let the toxic people fall away out of my life, or let the parts of myself or habits that I have that aren't healthy fall out of my life because I no longer need them. They are no longer helping me. They're hindering my growth. So I don't even know where this talk went, but I think just the most important thing is we have this life and this body for who we are, and I'm learning to be more vulnerable and show up in this world as my true authentic self, regardless of what we think people may think or say or do, because it's really irrelevant. You know, they aren't you. They're never gonna know. And when people are extremely judgmental of you or gossiping, it's because there are parts of themselves that you portray that they wish they could be. But if you just turn around and be like, wow, that's incredible, this person is outspoken, or they can speak the truth, I would love to be more like that. Like, what can I take away from this? You know? Yeah, it is so crazy. I think I realized, you know, growing up, I had this shell over me that I felt like I couldn't be my true authentic self for some reason, because it's, you know, societal things, or people, what they tell you they think you should be, or they, you know, project a lot onto you, like, of what they think you are, or who you should be. And I think I just was that because I didn't find myself, or didn't know who I was outside of that. And you know, I've lived in so many different places, I've met so many new people and had so many different experiences that I feel like I'm finally growing into who I always was. And you know, it's always a journey, because I could be, you know, I feel different even a month ago, and it could be different in 2 months from now, 2 weeks from now, you know. And I think that's the beauty of life, knowing that things come around and things change, and you can get through it because you've gotten through every single thing up until this point. So why would it be any different in the future? But I've just had the best vacation, spending time with family after like difficult times, and just living in the now, in the present moment, and embracing what today brings, because I can't control what tomorrow brings. It's been so beautiful. I got to see whales and seals and be at this beautiful ocean, and Port Townsend was so cool and old and spooky, and there's some really cute shops and the nicest people, and I just think life is so beautiful. And you know, even though difficult things happen, every single time I've gone through something, even when I can't, and it's the funny thing, like I can never see it in the moment because it feels so real and raw, and you know, when you're in it, you're like, this is horrible, like this feels like a hell. But when you get through it and you eventually look back, I've always seen the reasons behind things every time, you know. And so I just keep reminding myself that, you know, I've made it through things, you've made it through things, and you can make it through whatever life brings at you. And now you have those tools and those lessons that are gonna help carry you forward. I love you so much. I hope you have a beautiful day, okay? Be your true authentic self. Who cares what anyone says or what anyone thinks? They're never gonna understand or realize. And you're meant to show up in this world. You were created on this beautiful planet just the way you are, for a perfect reason. My Instagram DMs are always open. Go out and do whatever the heck you want to do, because it's your life. And if you're feeling drawn towards certain things, it's probably because you're meant to do it.